Okay, first pick of the evening will not be the last. We have the pick we all knew was going to happen, but still, hey, sometimes crazier things have happened, right? I didn't think Trayvon Walker was going first overall, although we knew draft night he would. Bryce Young is the newest member of the Carolina Panthers. They trade DJ Moore along with a future first-round pick and this year's first-round pick, but they get a guy who, if he hits, you won't even think twice about that trade. Now, obviously, you don't know if it's going to work. You don't know how these things go, but you never know how anything is going to go. You have to take risk. Every single team that wins a Super Bowl did it by taking a risk at some point, and one of the easiest ways to win a Super Bowl is to have a superstar quarterback. Now, can Bryce Young be that superstar quarterback? Many people believe he can, but, listen, you never know with quarterbacks, right? Quarterbacks there's can't-miss prospects that end up missing every year. There's guys that feel like they would never work out that end up working out, maybe not every year, but relatively frequently. So when it comes to quarterbacks, it is definitely a bit of a guessing game, but I think there's just plenty of reason to be excited if you're a Panthers fan. The reality is the next at least several years of your franchise is going to be directly tied to Bryce Young, and if he can hit, and he can be the elite player that he's certainly shown flashes of in college, and I think is probably the safest bet out of any of the quarterbacks available. Certainly, I think he's has the highest floor. If he does end up hitting, they're going to feel fantastic. And this could be something that 15 years from now, they're still in championship contention because of this player. I mean, that legitimately is the upside for Bryce Young. The upside is you have a Joe Burrow that's going to keep you in championship contention for 15 years, if not longer. I mean, that upside is just so much more valuable than a DJ Moore and 2 first-round picks. Even if that's still plenty of value there, this is the excitement that Bryce Young brings to the table. And, listen, draft is not over for the Panthers. They do have other needs they could address, but the Panthers are not in a terrible situation as a whole, just in general. I mean, you have, obviously, now a young quarterback, which, listen, a lot of great quarterbacks had bad rookie years. You can't sit here and say he's going to be good simply because, he's hyped up, and he might not be good right away. Like, that's definitely something that is very possible, or maybe he'll just be okay, like what Joe Burrow was his first year, which was good, but he wasn't like a superstar necessarily. But if you can get a Joe Burrow first year, or, especially if you can get like a Justin Herbert first year, if you can get something like that, where you can get really good play right away, it's totally within the realm of possibility that they win the division, and maybe even not even that crazy to think that they could win the division, even with just okay quarterback play. Their defense was, if you think about it, they were up 11 points in the fourth quarter. If they just hold on to that game against Tampa Bay, they won the division. They would have won the division last year with quarterback carousel. So certainly getting just consistent quarterback play could help you there. Now, don't have DJ Moore anymore, but still, that's definitely something that I think that you can feel pretty confident about playing in a weak division, which has gotten maybe a little stronger. The Saints certainly have gotten stronger. Falcons are still the Falcons, and the Buccaneers have certainly gotten worse losing Brady, but still, there's definitely a possibility of making the playoffs. But again, the reality is this year will be fun. If you're a Panthers fan watching this, my advice is have fun. That's the goal. That's kind of what's going to happen this year. At the end of the day, you would much rather miss the playoffs and have a lot of things look like a disaster, but have Bryce Young look great year one. You would easily much rather have that situation happen than the contrary, which would be, he doesn't look good, but you have like a Jets situation where you build a team but still don't have the quarterback. I don't know, maybe a future Hall of Famer you're able to trade for if that doesn't work out, but we're getting crazy into hypotheticals now, as it's very fascinating. And I do wonder, part of me wonders, do the Panthers try to make an effort to get more skill players, which they've already done some of, but I do think I would wonder how much they're going to pay attention to building the skill positions up, getting as many good skill players as they possibly can, simply just due to the fact that, I think we talked about before on this channel, the number one predictor of future success at the quarterback position is situation you've been drafted into. That's the best predictor. It doesn't necessarily mean, it could be a bit misleading, right? Because possibly part of that is because if it's a good situation you're getting drafted into, it's because the organization knows what they're doing. And if an organization knows what they're doing, then they can evaluate quarterbacks well and they can draft the right quarterback. So, there's a bit of a chicken or the egg scenario there. But I would assume that being in a good situation definitely helps the developmental process with at the quarterback position and makes it easier for you to play the position. In those first couple of years, which are so important to prove yourself, being in spots where you can, potentially have that happen could be great. Unfortunately, feels like the defenses could actually be pretty good in that division. Tampa Bay should still have a very good defense. The Saints is always scary with what they do. And then even the Falcons have good secondary players. So it's definitely interesting from that perspective. But again, is Bryce Young the best quarterback in the draft? I think it's really close between him and Stroud. That's my opinion, but most people say Young, and I totally get why, you could go with Young. To me, they're in the same tier. But I think what Young does, what he brings to the table is just, it's been talked about, but he really does have great pocket presence and great processing. And those are kind of things where I think some people often feel like, oh, well, let's just get a guy with a big arm and a great athlete, and we'll just teach them that other stuff. But that doesn't usually happen. At least it doesn't, happen consistently enough for you to feel good and confident about something like that. You want someone who can be an elite processor, and we saw with someone like Tua how important that was, and also with someone like Joe Burrow, who I think is, that's been a comparison I've heard with Bryce Young, and I do get it. I totally can see why those two would be uttered in the same breath. Now, again, will he be Joe Burrow? I mean, again, odds are, if you ask me if any player out of the draft is going to be Joe Burrow, I'm going to say no, right? That's just the thing. But definitely, the potential is there. And that's kind of what you're looking for. Is it feels like for quarterbacks, typically the best odds they have of being good at the next level, it's about 1 in 3 of becoming an elite quarterback, like a real good quarterback. It's 1 in 3 that are drafted this high up tend to be. So who knows if it's going to work out? But if it doesn't, hey, in a couple years you draft another guy. That's okay. You got to keep taking swings. And if you're taking a swing, why not take a swing on someone like Bryce Young, who I think not only could be elite someday, but also could be in a unique scenario where I think if he could also be good quickly, and maybe you get 4 years of a rookie deal where you don't have to pay a quarterback big money, but still get good quarterback play. And that's where, again, things get very interesting for me. So from the trade perspective and from the Bryce Young pick selection, I think it's a really smart play by the Panthers. Yes, there's a risk factor, but the reality is if you just keep sitting back, I mean, we saw what happened the past couple of years where they kind of tried to nickel and dime at the quarterback position. It doesn't really work. You have to figure out something else. The Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield stuff just doesn't tend to work out that well. We'll see if the Bryce Young stuff works out. Draft officially on. I will be making videos about every selection on this channel, so definitely make sure you're subscribed here and all that good stuff. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.